Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to Trail Talk. How are you guys doing today? We're really glad you could join us here in the Chuck Wagon Theater studio, Chuck Wagon
Oh, that's
Studio.
right. It is a studio.
Gosh, at the Chisholm Trail Heritage Center in Duncan, Oklahoma. I'm
Live.
Edie,
Mary.
and we are ready to talk turkey with you guys today.
How exciting.
Yes,
Turkey.
the wild turkey and the pheasant, two game birds.
Yes.
Two game birds that are they live in the Great Plains area, although the pheasant really is just the very northern part of Oklahoma, if in Oklahoma at all.
Right.
I've
Not
always
much in this area.
yeah, I've known guys who travel to
go
hunt
hunt them.
pheasant, and they go all the way up to Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
So pheasant generally live north of here, but we talk about them at the Heritage Center because
It's an important part
right, yeah, and they probably lived a little further south
at that time.
in those days. So anyway, let's start off. We'll talk about wild turkey here. So
really?
yeah, so the wild turkey is that too glary? It looks pretty. Maybe it's okay. The wild turkey is kind of interesting. I see wild turkey around
all
here
the time. You see
all the
them.
time. I mean probably
Even
just
on the street out here.
Yeah.
A lot of times you'll see them in the mornings.
yeah. So that's kind of an indicator. Wild turkey feed in the morning and evening time, so
When the sun's
they're
going up and down.
right crepuscular
That
by
big old
nature.
word.
There we go.
We like to squeeze
Yeah.
that in anytime
Yeah.
we can.
So the male turkey is called a tom, and this is a really good picture of a tom turkey.
All those colors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now it's not like the rainbow colors that we make as kids.
No, but it's very fall-like.
It is. It really is. Yeah. And the male of the species, of course, is the more eye-catching.
It has the prettier colors to
Right.
it.
And
Which is opposite of the human nature. Usually
Yes.
they have the more
and birds, especially the
Mhm.
female, are always kind of
just
the
dull.
gray tan. And it didn't occur to me until I was studying this. I have a feeling that might be so that the female can camouflage better because they're usually with the eggs and the young.
Nesting. That makes sense.
And maybe that's why female birds are generally less
Conspicuous.
noticeable. Yes, because their job is to protect and care for the young, and so that helps them be camouflaged. So
we're gonna go with that.
Anyway, yeah,
I like that idea.
There's your little bird fact for
Bird
today.
fact.
Fast fact. Okay, so this picture of the tom is really a good one to see some features of them. So those bumpy flesh,
This pinkish red area.
those are called caruncles, which is just fun to say. I could not get this lesson out without saying caruncles.
And it may be worked in a few more times.
Right, yeah, that's going to be our word of the day. And then the thing that comes out over the top of the beak,
Right here.
yeah, right there, Mary, that is called a snood.
It's a pretty cool word.
It is.
Your snood and your caruncles.
Caruncles, right. So those are only on the male turkey. I have some pictures of female turkeys I'll show you here in a minute. But so the male also has something called a beard, and you can't really see it on either of these pictures. I hope I have a picture. I didn't really pay close attention, I guess. But right below where this
red
area
is.
I always call it the gobble.
The gobbler.
The gobbler,
The
yeah.
gobbler.
That part. Anyway, it's a coarse black hair that comes out of the chest right there, and that's
ours that we have on
what's the
display.
beard.
You can see it really well.
Yeah. So they have what they call a beard on them there. So the difference, you can tell the age of a male turkey by his tail feathers. The younger ones, their center feathers are
longer.
Taller. They stick up higher. So if the tail is down, if they're not strutting,
you can't tell.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to tell. But
when they're like that, then they're full grown.
Right. Yeah. So this is a tom. He's full grown. If his feathers were not, I guess, flush all the way across, he would be called a jake. That's what you call a younger
like a
turkey, a
teenage
year.
turkey.
Yeah, teenage turkey,
Mhm.
Jake.
Jake.
He sounds like a teenager, doesn't he?
Mhm.
So let's look at a picture of the female turkeys here. So here
Not
we
nearly as pretty
no,
colors.
I mean the probably the first thing you notice
Yeah.
is
the
how
big main difference there.
mhm, yeah, I mean they're they look like a guinea chicken to me is what the females look like. They don't have the uh, beautiful tail feathers. They don't
Mhm.
have any color
On
at
their
all
head.
on their heads. And so again, you can see how that would be helpful for camouflage.
Right.
But I think they have about a
A
dozen.
dozen eggs is what they usually lay.
So their clutch of eggs would have about a dozen. And here are the
Kind of
babies
see them there.
that they're called poults, like poultry, I think,
Yeah,
but
just
poults.
poults.
That's what you'd call.
Interesting word.
Mhm. And then they get a little older here. They're called fledglings at this point, where they are preteen. I'm gonna guess.
Categorize them by age
Right.
groups. Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, so you can kind of get an idea. The hens they're even smaller birds.
Yeah.
They're
not
not
nearly as big as the
Mhm.
toms.
Yeah. But when you talk about the size of the birds, a wild turkey is the second biggest,
Largest.
bird in, I guess you could say, North
North
America.
America.
Yeah. The trumpeter swan holds the number one spot.
Those are the ones that swim around.
Yes, the
Yeah,
white.
Yeah. The big white ones.
Yeah. Um, and so these turkeys, these are good pictures too, as far as a turkey habitat goes.
That's where they like to live.
They like grasses. They like the berries, nuts, seeds,
Yeah.
things like that. They like trees that are like conifers and even hardwood trees. They like to live in places like that because even though they're considered ground birds, they can fly, and they do.
They do fly. Yeah.
Not great distances. They don't.
They don't migrate.
Right. Yes, they do not migrate.
Mm-mm.
So that's one of the things about being able to get into a tree. They can if it snows,
Right. Icy and cold, they need somewhere warm to go.
Plus the a lot of times the grasses will die off in the winter time.
So
there's no cover.
texture and cover, right?
Yeah. And so they're able to get up in a tree, which is which tells us also that their mating season and the time of year when they have their eggs lay their eggs, that's in the springtime. They mate in March and April. So that would mean that there's always going to be vegetation
To cover and
to
protect.
cover the ground for them. We have a group of ladies who've been here who are leaving the
They're
museum
exiting.
now. Yeah, nobody wants to come be on
No.
camera with us, so sorry. I don't know why, but
Mm-mm.
anyway, so the turkeys are the fact that they do fly makes them different from the domesticated turkey, which are the ones like are in the freezer at the stores that you go buy. I don't mean that they're pets. They're the ones you're going to whip up for Thanksgiving dinner.
They're a little bit different.
Yeah. And so the domesticated birds are larger, I think.
Yeah.
And they're really not able to fly at all.
This is a good flight picture.
Yeah, they really are strong fly, and you can see this
There's
is a
the
tom.
beard.
Oh yeah, that's a very good point. That hanging
It's not
down
real
part.
thick. It's just a
Yeah,
it's just a few
it's about this
strands.
big around.
Yeah.
About, I don't know if you can see, about the size of a nickel, probably maybe a
Probably.
quarter if it was, depending on how long it is. But they can get like 9 inches long, so that's a pretty old turkey.
Pretty old Tom.
Pretty old Tom.
Pretty old Tom.
Yeah, with a beard that long. Okay, so their eyesight is really good, except at night.
Yeah.
They
They
had
can't see at night.
terrible night vision.
Vision's not so good.
Um, so sometimes if they, especially if they're by themselves, I guess that what I'm saying means maybe they can't hear as well either, but they can like turn right into the face of a predator
Right.
and not even
Not know
realize the
that they're
predator's there.
Yeah, until it's
So,
just too late.
yeah. So if they stay together in a
Kind of
group,
a flock
a
type
flock
setting.
up, then that lowers the risk of them being hunted at night by a predator. And I was kind of surprised at the long list of
They
predators.
went on forever.
Yeah, of course, the poults and eggs.
Those are just up for the grabs whenever they're
Basically,
not protected.
right. So I mean, we're talking about everything from a well, it's not on that page either. There it is. Share some of
We
that.
have the raccoon, which that surprised me because
Mhm.
it's a relatively small animal. The skunk, the gray fox, groundhogs, which
Right.
that has to be just for the eggs and
That's
the little
yeah,
babies.
that's what I think. Too.
Rodents, it says other rodents and spotted skunks, rat snakes, gopher snakes, and pine snakes. Also raptors and bald eagles, so they can like swoop down and grab.
And so they would be coming after the full grown,
It
or
says
probably
the
at least the
avian
fledglings.
predators.
Uh-huh.
No, it says of the pouts actually.
Oh, okay.
So that was before was the eggs and the nestlings.
Okay.
And the predators to the pouts include raptors and bald eagles, the barred owl, the broad-winged hawk,
Ah.
the white-tailed, and the Harris hawk.
Mm-hmm.
So
Just
I mean,
of course, their nest is on the ground, so it's kind of easy access.
Yeah, and also the great horned owl for the
Okay.
adult-sized fledglings, and the red wolves, domestic dogs and cats.
Oh,
So they are predators as well.
Right.
The wolves, cougars, and bobcats, which we do have some of those, golden eagles and black bears.
But I did read the number one predator
Is
people. What's wrong with us? We're like the number one predator
To
for
almost
just
everything.
almost every animal.
We can't just let things live. We have to kill it.
It's
Why do we
always,
have to kill everything?
always after the poor animals.
I know.
But the turkeys make a lot of different sounds. Now, I'm not going to make turkey sounds.
Oh.
If I would have thought, I could have brought my dad's turkey call.
Oh, that would.
They have different kinds. They have the kind you can put in your mouth. It's a little half moon thing, leather thing with a little thin plastic thing that you vibrate. Yeah. I used to play with these turkey calls all the time. They're kind of hard, but once you get it figured out, you blow on it and hold it in your mouth, and that little thing vibrates. But then he also has this wooden box that has a piece of wood that you kind of scrape over the top.
I've seen those
of the box, and it makes a completely different sound. And
there's several sounds they make.
Right. So when hunters are looking for turkey, they do those different
just
calls,
rotate through the different,
and it's those turkeys just come trotting
right up there. Just like, oh, okay.
I guess they're kind of social animals or something.
Curious. They want to know what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. Our friends, the turkeys, are omnivores.
We know that word.
We do. So they don't just eat the seeds and the grasses and things.
They like their meat.
Yeah, so they'll eat insects, or they like a lizard, a little snake once in a while.
Yeah.
So they're kind of like to
help with the pest population.
The pest population, yeah, that's very good. When they do mate, the one male will be with many female turkeys. So they kind of they don't have.
They're not monogamous.
Monogamous, no, and they don't mate for life or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just a seasonal kind of courtship, yeah, for them. So, and you were talking about the turkeys, how early they leave the nest.
Yes, those. Oh, I just handed it back to you. Actually, these words I'd never heard before. Precocial. The pouts are precocial, and I don't even know how to say this. Nidifugios. I'm going to add my French twist to that.
Nidifugus.
Yes, to you too.
Nidifugus, yeah. I promise it's not a bad
We're
word.
not.
We're not R
We're
rated.
strictly G here.
Yeah.
So precocial, that actually means that they're hatched and born in an advanced state. So when they come
Okay.
out of the egg, and they're able to feed themselves almost immediately.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
yeah. Well, hey Stefan, how you doing?
hello.
Um,
And then
Nidifugus.
yeah, I'm gonna have my translator say it for me because I'm butchering it every time. They leave the nest soon after hatching. That's what that means. So pretty
Okay.
much when turkeys are coming out of the egg or come out of the egg, they're hatched.
Wow, they're ready to
pretty much
go.
they're set to go.
So a lot. Well. That may be because they're ground
The ground
birds.
birds
The little birds that are
nested up in a
hatched.
tree.
Yeah, they can't. They have to grow a lot before they can leave the nest. So that's interesting.
It makes sense.
Yeah. I bet it has something to do with them being like more ground dwellers
Yeah.
than.
Yeah, and like you said, they're clutches. They usually lay about one a day until they get to about 10 or 14. So about a dozen.
So and how long does it take for an egg to hatch?
It says they incubate for about 28 days. So about a month.
But then it's another 10 or 12 days or whatever until they're all hatched.
So I guess they
That's
just
interesting.
well, that way mom doesn't get overloaded.
Right.
She can gradually work into motherhood with 14 little hens running around.
Yeah. That's a helpful.
You wouldn't want to jump into just
No, you would
14
not.
all at once.
You absolutely would not. So the wild turkey that we see here the most often is the Rio Grande turkey. There are 6 subspecies of turkeys
of
the wild turkey, and the Rio Grande is the species
that's common.
The most common here. And the word turkey, the reason they called the bird this, so there was a couple of theories. One was that these birds were taken to Britain from a country in the Mediterranean through Spain, and so they were referring to the country of Turkey. Another theory is that there was a bird that was brought by Turkish people who was some kind of a grouse or something like that, another large ground dwelling bird. And they thought when people came to North America, they saw these turkeys and they reminded them of those. And so they called them turkeys. So we're not really sure 100% why they called them turkeys, but those are a couple of the theories. So we've all heard the story of Benjamin Franklin wanting the turkey to be our national bird rather than the bald eagle. Well, what I discovered, we learned this in our studies. It's kind of a funny story. So Benjamin Franklin, he was a rather diverse writer. He wrote stories or papers pretending to be someone besides himself. Was it Constance Dogood or somebody Dogood papers where he was pretending to be a woman? Yeah, and he wrote he was part of the early part of our country becoming a nation, and he had a lot of influence. He was a scientist.
Yeah, he was
he invented bifocal glasses. Yes. I mean, he was a Renaissance man. Yeah, a Renaissance man, really. And so he was writing a letter to his daughter, and using hyperbole or exaggeration, he was talking about the bald eagle in negative terms and saying how the turkey would be a better choice than the bald eagle. He had a little grudge against the bald eagle, I guess.
They had a bad quarrel.
Right. But he never voiced the opposition to the bald eagle in public. It was just in this letter to his daughter. So chances,
I'm sure he never thought would come public.
Yeah. So chances are it was just kind of a joke between them that got a little bit blown out of proportion.
A little bit to the exaggeration level.
Yes, muchly so. So how we talked about bison and how on the plains, there were millions and millions of bison at one time, and then
almost down to extinction.
you're right, people got involved and killed those bison down. Well, the same thing happened to the turkey. I really didn't have any idea.
Never thought they were in danger.
Right, but in the early 20th century, um, people, of course, expanding across the United States and
becoming more populated.
right, yeah, people moving in, and so forest or wooded areas were cleared out so people could plant crops or for cattle drives. I mean, it's all very much tied in with all of the things that have
Growing
to do
population
with the Chisholm Trail
during that time.
So people came in and took out trees and cleared prairies where these wild turkeys lived, and then they would also hunt and kill the wild turkeys, and there were millions of wild turkeys, and by the 1930s there were roughly 30,000 wild turkeys left.
That's quite a depreciation.
Yes, it is. I was just astounded, and of course the government wisely stepped in to assist with that. And so now we're back literally up to millions of turkeys.
Yeah, we're not on a shortage.
No, we're not. But that's, that's a good thing because people do like to hunt these animals, and they really.
There is a season for it.
Yes, there is. So that they're actually, I think it's twice a year.
Yeah, because isn't there
like a fall and then I think there's a fall season and like in April
spring,
or something.
Yeah.
But the turkeys, I mean, we're in November now. Thanksgiving's coming up.
Right around the corner.
And, the story of the first Thanksgiving
right.
with the pilgrims and the Native Americans.
Coming together.
Yeah, and how the Native Americans provided some food and turkey, that's the traditional thing. Well, the wild turkey really did play a role in the lives of Native Americans, not just for food, but also
feathers.
Yes, their feathers. Especially the male, those beautiful colors. They would decorate. They would make headpieces,
right.
Which, when you think about that, how that's fanned out,
it's perfect.
It's a perfect, headdress. Look, so the turkeys, were not just in the plains. I mean, they're all across the United States, and so the eastern tribes were the ones who probably used the turkeys the most. They're the Navajos over in the little western part of the United States, the southern Rockies and down there. They also, I mean, and not just for feathers, but like ceremonial purposes. Yeah. So they looked to the turkey. So it wasn't just all about Thanksgiving.
Right.
I mean, the turkey played a big role.
Yeah, different parts.
Yeah. All right. So that's what we've got for you as far as turkeys go. Yeah. So let's look at the pheasant. And as beautiful as a wild turkey is, I think the pheasant may have him topped.
It's pretty.
Yes, he is. Pheasants are very beautiful birds. And again, just like the turkey, this is a male.
Yep.
I mean,
all the colorations give it away.
Yeah. Surprise, surprise. The turkeys have a way of, they'll kind of fight, and they actually have feet that are like the owls with three
in the front
and then the one in the back.
Yeah.
And so they can spur and fight, or how people have cockfights with chickens and stuff.
Same kind of thing.
Yeah. The pheasant can probably do the very same things. They are also ground dwelling birds. They can fly like the turkey,
just not for long distances.
Yeah, so they're very similar in all that respect. They are hunted for food, but they're probably, I don't know.
It takes several pheasants to make a turkey.
Yeah, they're probably a third the size of a turkey, maybe a fourth.
We're making people hungry around here.
I think Scott might enjoy a little pheasant under glass, maybe. Yeah, but the pheasant is a bird that people hunt not just for game, but to eat. So let me show you here again, the very plain
Female.
female. Yeah,
She looks so sad.
she does,
I mean,
doesn't
look at
she?
her. When you saw the male picture, and you go to this,
Yeah.
she
I
just,
mean,
it's like she's an old
just
widow,
it.
just
Yeah, it's
kind of
so. Yeah, here, let's look at there's
male.
male, female. It is laughable, actually. I think I'm going with the camouflage theory because
I really hope that's
without
why.
it, it's just
I mean, she's
it's
even got a
sad.
sad expression on her.
Yeah.
I feel sorry
Yeah.
for
Well,
this.
look at her over here. The babies are sitting on top of her. I
She's had a
mean,
rough day.
yeah, the chicks are just taking complete
They're
advantage of
taking
mom
control of the
here.
situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Now I don't know. You know how the with quail they had the clear markings on their
Mhm.
heads when they
Mhm.
were about the
The
size,
size.
but I don't
See any
really see
differences.
anything. The male, let me look at this again. Has this ring
Mhm.
around his neck, so I'm wondering, but their necks are kind of squished
Yeah,
down.
you
They're
can't
not really.
This one's kind of raised up, so you can't see much.
Mm-hmm. But I feel like there should be some kind of marking on them that would indicate
Differentiate the
a
difference.
male or female. But if anybody knows anything like that, send us a comment because I really I
It'd
couldn't
be
find
interesting. Yeah.
information that would kind of point some of those things out to us. But again, we can see the time of year
Yeah.
when
Green grass.
green grass. So they mate and nest in the springtime,
Just like the turkey.
just like the turkeys do. But they do not.
She goes out on her
Yeah,
widow walk in winter.
Yeah, they do not migrate just like the turkey, so they need to be able to get into a tree. Now they live in places where there is very tall grass.
They kind of camouflage behind that.
Yeah, and if it is extremely cold weather, they will just kind of hunker down and not really move at all for 3 or 4 days.
Just right there where they're
Yeah,
at.
they're just gonna kind of stay put, conserve their energy,
Mm-hmm.
and that will help them be able to
Stay warm.
to stay
survive.
warm, or at least to survive a hard winter. Their diets are basically the same as
As the turkey.
turkeys. They, the berries, the grasses,
Grains
the
and-
grains, and
yeah.
insects.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that they would actually eat maybe a lizard or something like
Yeah.
that because their heads and everything are quite a
But
bit
smaller.
smaller. They but they when they hide in these grasses. So some of the information I was reading was that if you're driving, especially like in the country on a gravel road or something like that, and there's tall grasses, you might actually see the pheasant emerge from the tall grass and then run on, either across the road or in the field. And so that's something to kind of watch for. They do have predators that are very similar to
Turkey.
the turkey's predators. But again, because they're a game bird and people hunt them, again, humans are the
Number
main
one.
predator, yeah, for these animals. Um, like in the 1880s, the pheasant was the number one game bird in
Really?
the U.S. Yeah, hunting pheasant. Which actually, in old movies,
Mm-hmm.
people would
Go on
would
pheasant
go on
hunts.
pheasant hunts. Yeah, it was kind of
It's like
it
a
makes,
social gathering.
right?
In
Yeah,
a
it
way.
makes me think of like going on a fox hunt,
Right.
But they
Mhm.
go on because you hunt with dogs.
Mm-hmm.
They're like the quail, and
Flush
they're
them
in
out.
they're in the tall grass, so the dogs will flush them out, and then the hunters shoot them, which is, a skill of shooting
Timing and
a moving
moving object.
target. Yeah. So anyway, but they are members of the grouse family, uh, and that they have the large muscle, the
And their
breast
breast
muscle,
muscle.
just like the turkey.
Chicken.
All of those animals that are more ground dwelling than migrating
flight
flying
birds.
birds. Yeah, they have the white meat and muscle there. But they can fly like 40 miles an hour.
Yeah, when I sell that, that's just
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah,
booking it.
It is. Yeah, it's really swift, but it's kind of
It's
like,
not for a long distance though.
yeah,
They
kind of
can't
like the
keep that
quail
up.
was.
Yeah,
You know, they just fly
those
for short
really
little,
fast bursts.
hmm like 600 feet, about 600 feet. It seems like the quail was about 500
Mm-hmm.
feet.
Yeah,
So
very similar.
yeah. So they now these birds, I thought this was a little bit of a, I don't know, just a little not nice feature of these birds. It reminded me of otters. You know how otters will go into beaver dens and
And
take over
yeah.
the beaver den? They will take the nest of a grouse or a prairie chicken,
Oh,
and
take it over.
they'll take it over. The male, the rooster,
Mm-hmm.
the pheasant is their, the
Male is the rooster.
male's a rooster, female's a hen, just like chickens. Yeah, he'll run off the male grouse or prairie chicken, and the female will come in there and lay their eggs.
Just go
Yeah,
ahead and set up shop.
but this is interesting. It says that the the pheasants, when they're chasing and courting, sometimes male pheasant will chase and court the prairie chickens,
Uh-huh.
that maybe by being raised in that nest, they imprinted as a prairie chicken, so they might not realize that they're a pheasant.
Not a very
I
intelligent
thought that that was
animal, are they?
that was interesting to hear that.
Totally
Sounds like a little psychiatry might be in order
they
for
lost
some of these
themselves.
poor little
Need help.
yeah, but that's what they get for taking someone else's nest,
That's right.
you know?
Serves them right.
Fair is fair.
That's
That's nature. It's nature. Nature always seeks a balance, so there you have it.
It's one way for them to get it.
Yeah. So they also are they have multiple mating partners. Yeah, it's called harem defense polygyny.
Now that
Yeah.
is a mouthful.
Yeah, they are. One male will keep a little harem or a little group of females
Just
around him.
picture them in little
Yeah, with their
veils.
little veils on. um, so let me show you a picture here of this
Male.
the male in flight. I think that is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, how eye-catching in the fall, right, this time of year, with
Stand out.
the dead grass and
Mhm.
everything's kind of dull, and that beautiful bird flying across there. That would definitely catch your
Yeah, it
eye
would.
if you were in the part of the US where these were in the wild. Speaking of that, here's a map that kind of shows the habitat area where they, and so you can see the north part of Oklahoma and they're into the panhandle is yeah, but say they're in a good part of the Great Plains, but also they stretch.
Yeah, like them
Uh-huh.
here a little bit.
Yeah, so
A little bit right there.
they take over there, or they've moved around and found a lot of different places here in the US where they might like to live. So, you know, if you're looking to go pheasant hunting, here you
Here's
go.
where you can go.
Here you go. We're giving you everything you need to know right here. Okay, so here we go. The turkey versus the pheasant.
Oh, there's another beard.
Oh yeah, there I got a good picture of a beard right
See
there.
it right
Yeah, can we zoom in on that beard there, Scott? We've
Let's-
got a lot of
let's show us
zooming
that
in and
beard
out,
footage, Scott.
in and out here on them. I mean, equally stunning animals.
and he's all
Beautiful.
puffed out there too.
Yeah, he is. He's strutting.
Yes.
That yeah.
It's like his mating
Uh-huh.
walk
When they do those turkey calls,
before they come out.
yeah, if the tom hears that, he'll come strutting out there, and and then the pheasant, just a beautiful, eye-catching bird. But in the wild, evidently there's some chatter out there about turkeys bullying, kind of, or attacking, or
going on.
yeah, even killing pheasant. But research has been done. There really is there's no really hard evidence that would indicate they can live near each other. They don't interact. Yeah, they just don't really have anything to do with each other. And they're all actually a part of the same family of birds. So in the kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, they're all part of the same family of birds that includes partridges, chickens, some quail, and some others. So many of the most popular game birds, basically. So
Right.
so the thing they have in common then probably ground dwelling, breast meat that is probably a larger part of the body, and in which that is something you can really see.
Yeah, that's really pronounced right there.
Right. And the turkey, of course, we know the turkeys are the same way. So you can tell by looking. I mean, they're smaller animals, but all in all, the turkey and the pheasant should be friends.
I was about to say that.
Yes.
I wasn't going to sing it though.
Yeah, good idea.
I wasn't going to bring back Oklahoma.
Good idea. So I just wanted to mention to everyone who views this that next Tuesday, we will be putting a Trail Talk trivia question on our Facebook page. And if you haven't seen it before, you need to go and look on Tuesday and see what Trail Talk Trivia Tuesday is all about.
Besides just all the T's.
Yeah, besides the tongue twisting.
Just trying to get it out there.
But you can play. It's just a fun little game, but the prize is a free family pass to the Chisholm Trail Heritage Center right here in Duncan.
Live.
Yeah, and if you happen to watch and decide you want to play along, if you don't live in Duncan, we can mail the pass to you. We can hold it for you, just whatever would be most convenient. But it's a free family pass, so it's really a fun little thing to play along. So
just our way to give back for watching.
That's right. So there's only one question, and we'll have Trail Talk today, and then Trail Talk tomorrow. Our special guest tomorrow is Clancy Jones. Clancy lives right here in Duncan, and he's kind of bursting on the scene as a singer and songwriter. And so we're excited to talk to him tomorrow at 2:00. But the question could be from today's episode or tomorrow's episode. We just want you to watch and enjoy, and then get a little something maybe for doing all that. Yeah. So I think that's all the turkey I have to talk about today, Mary. How about you?
I think I'm full on pheasant myself.
We didn't even practice that, y'all. It just happened.
Just roll with it like that around here.
So anyway, thanks for joining us today on Trail Talk. Yeah. And we're ready to sign off. Stefan, you want to unmute yourself there? We're going to make sure everybody's mic is ready.
He's unmuted.
And so on 3, happy trails. 1, 2, 3. Happy trails.
Happy trails.
Bye.